something that you might encounter when programming to numbers in this case. So I have a little program here. You should be able to trace it. I import the scanner. It's called equal primitives. I have a main method, and in this main method I have this 4 lines. I create a scanner, so I'm going to read something from the input. I read 2 integers, and then I print whether they're equal or not. So we'll compile this, and we're going to run it and see what it does. So let me run it. And here it's waiting for my input on the first number, right, on this integer a. So I'm going to put 34. And for integer b, I'm going to put 43. Okay? So look, I'm down here. If I hit enter, it's going to print whether those 2 strings are equal or not. And they're not, false. So it prints whether a equals b. Now, equals is an operator. It's something in the language that denotes that I'm putting whatever's on this side of the expression into a variable called a. So if I want to test whether 2 things are equal, I have to use the double equal sign. This would be what's called the Boolean operator for equality. Okay, so a equals b basically is the question: is a the same as b? That would be the translation. And this evaluates to false in my example because 34 is not the same as 43. Well, if I run it again, and if it's asking me for the first number, so I'll put 34, then I'll put the next number, the number b now again. It's 34, and it's going to say true. They're both equal. Now this is beautiful. Now let's go to do the same thing with strings. I have a little class here called equals. I changed files, so if you didn't catch that, I just hit down here on the other file. So I have a class equals that it's exactly the same up to here, up to getting the user from input from the user, and it's the same thing here. It'll print whether the first string is equal to the second one. But instead of reading ints, I'll just read strings. 2 strings with the method next line. Okay, you can trace this and see quickly and see that I'm basically reading 2 strings and comparing them. So let's compile this guy and run it. Now it's asking me for this first string, so I'm going to put hello, and then the second string I'm going to put goodbye. And it says that they're not the same, it's false. I'm going to run it again, and on the first string I'm going to put hello, and on the second one I'm going to put hello with lowercase, okay, lowercase h, and it's going to say they're not the same, right? So and actually, if you look at them, they're not the same. One has capital, the other one doesn't, and that's important for Java. But we'll see why other reasons why these 2 are not equal. So let's run it a third time. Let's put the same string in both. So hello for the first string, and then hello with a capital H for the second one. And this thing still says false. And that is counterintuitive. Why would it say false, right? So what we're going to do now is try to debug and see why is this false. Now I'm going to introduce another thing here in the strings that's called equals. So if I say if I have a Boolean variable, for example, if I say system.out.println a dot equals b, this is the string way of asking whether 2 strings are equal or not, in the sense that you might understand. So for example, if I run this and I type in the hello again, okay, hello and hello, the first output is going to be false because we'll see why, but this is returning false. And this output should be true because the actual word in the strings is the same. So let's see. So let's enter 2 hellos, and the first one is false, the second one is true, meaning this output here is true. Let's see why this is. For that, we turn to our little memory diagram, and we have a little program here. So we'll just paste this there. This was our program with integers. You can double check scanner equals, well, the class name is not the same, but the contents are the same. I create a scanner, read an integer, read an integer, and print a equals b. So let's trace this. So first we're going to create a scanner k. Okay, scanner k here. I don't know, anywhere in memory, right? Scanner k. Now scanner k is an object. Remember, it starts with a capital letter. It's an object. And objects are not stored right there, but what's stored in here is a pointer to the real location in memory. So for example, this guy k might point to some other location in memory. Let's say this one. This guy k is pointing to whatever location in memory, and here's where my scanner is. Code for the scanner object. Okay? That's where the contents of the scanner are. Now, this is more important now. Integer a equals k.next. So integer a, let's put it here, will be whatever I enter. In the first case, for example, I enter 34 for the first number. So 34 is stored right there. It's a primitive. No pointing to anywhere else, is stored right there. And then integer b will store right here as well. I entered 34 the last time, remember? So when I look at a equals b, it's going to go to a here, and it's going to check whether it's equal to b, which is here. And they are equal. They are the exact same. Okay? That's why, you know, the output of this one was true, and then if this number changes to 43, for example, it compares this and this, and they're not equal, so the output is false. Now what happens if instead of these two I have a string? So let's do the same code now with reading strings and using the equals and the dot equals notation. The equals equals and the dot equals notation. Well, so the scanner stays the same, so there will be a scanner, right? I create a scanner, that's the first instruction right here, and that's pointing to memory address, whatever. Now I'm going to create two variables, string a here, a, and a is a pointer to some other memory location, right? So let's bring a, it's going to be here, and say I enter hello with capital letters, hello, right? And then I'm going to create string b over here, b over here, and b is going to point to another memory address, which is going to be fe whatever, that memory address. I'm making these numbers up just to illustrate the point that these strings are pointing someplace else. Okay, so they say the string points over there to that memory address. Okay, and in this memory address I'm also going to enter hello with capital H and everything. Now when it comes the time to see if a equals b, what's going to happen is it's going to go here to a and see whether this number stored here, the pointer, is equal to the other pointer. These two numbers are not the same, basically because they're numbers of memory locations that are different. Okay, what happens here with a and b is that I have hello in two different places in memory, but the variables are holding a pointer to each one of them, and the pointers are different. Basically these arrows are different. Okay, these values here are different. That's why a equals b will return false, because these two memory locations are not the same. Now when I say a equals b, what happens is that a, because I say dot equals, a is going to go to a corresponds to this one, it's going to go to hello, and it's going to see whether it's equals to what is pointed by location b here. In short, if you compare equals equals, you're comparing memory locations. When you're talking about primitives, these two memory locations are the actual numbers. But when you're talking about objects, these two memory locations contain pointers and therefore not the same. A equals B compares the value of variable A and B, okay, the actual values in memory. A dot equals B goes to the object, the string object, and compares the contents of the string object with the contents of the other string object, and in this case both are equal. And that's how the equals works, and versus the dot equals.